Hello. It's been nearly a week since I filmed my last one. It feels weird just coming back on here and talking to the camera again, which is crazy. Still getting used to it, I think. Sometimes I feel like I am used to it and then I come back to it and I feel a bit speechless. I think the lens is a little bit dirty. Sorry, for those who are listening on the podcast, I was just cleaning my lens. It looks better now. I just want to say that I've received some really lovely comments and messages this week in response to my most recent video. And these comments are so positive and have really motivated me. Even just filming this week's video, I'm like, right, let's go. Just having conversations with people, even if, they haven't watched my videos or listened to the podcast, it still means a lot because people are engaging and I'm connecting with people. And that's what this is all about. It's just having those conversations and speaking on things that are a bit controversial or don't get spoken about enough. So yeah, I'm very, very grateful for the connections that I'm building today, the conversations that I've had this week, and all of the conversations that I've had with everybody that have come from the Lens community. I'm so, so grateful. So thank you so much for listening and supporting and just chatting and being you. So this week's episode is all about the pressure to have your life together. Move you a little bit closer. Yeah, that's better. I felt like I was like this before. There's a massive pressure to have our life together, and it starts so early on in our childhood. This pressure tends to stem from school and then goes into our careers, our relationships. We feel pressured to buy a house, have assets, marry somebody, have children, find your dream job or your dream career. Success is measured by all of these things, and we feel this pressure from such a young age. Personally, I started feeling behind when I was at school. And when I was quite young, I felt like I was behind everybody else. And I almost just didn't give myself a chance. Do you know what? I started talking and then I was like, I'm not feeling it. Why am I not feeling it right now? It's because I'm hungry. I cannot do anything. I cannot work. I cannot do anything if I'm hungry. So you gotta eat. Do you know what? I could eat 2 of those. But I'm not going to. I'm having another banana because one was not enough. So why do we feel such a big amount of pressure to have our lives all together? Because realistically, what even is that? What does that look like? I think it's very subjective. I might think I have my life together right now, and somebody else might look at my life and think, what? What's she doing with her life? I think it's really important to have your own definition of having a life together. What does that look like for you? Not for anybody else. And how does that feel? How would that feel to have that? And how do you feel when you have your shit together? What even does that mean for you? I used to feel like I was always behind everybody else and I could never catch up. I just thought that I was really dumb and I had no chance and I just wasn't born that way and didn't have the traits and skill and talent as everybody else. I had depression when I was at school and I was going through some stuff, and school was really difficult. I actually moved to school and I did better. I truly believe that the reason why I was doing better was because I was surrounded by more positive energy, and people were really nice at the school that I moved to. And I made some lovely friends, and that really helped me. And I really do think having people around you, supporting you, it's not even that I laid my heart down and I spoke openly about my struggles and what I was going through, but people were just there and they made me laugh, and I came into school looking forward to it, which wasn't something that I ever experienced before. So change of environment really helped for me. And I started to feel more positive. I was dealing with things better, and therefore I did better in my final exams. I just started to believe in myself and started to see a brighter future, and I had a purpose to do well. And once I started trying and putting in the effort, I then got the return back and I started to see the results. But I will say, with school and the exams, I just always felt like I was having to catch up all the time. Yeah, I had to put in extra work to catch up of all the years where I just didn't try. In school, we are pressured to choose a career so young. I wasn't really thinking about my career. I just thought, okay, what do I like? What can I do that won't bore me to death? I picked Spanish, dance, ICT, and what was the other one? What was the other one? Oh, photography. I can't believe I forgot that. That's literally what I do now. I remember being asked, like, what do you want to do when you leave school? What do you want to be when you're older? I knew that I was a creative person, so I think I just always led with that. I just want to be an artist. I enjoyed blogging, creating videos, taking photos, designing, drawing, painting. I felt like I had to pick something and just go with that and not sway. And my life had to feel like it had to be really linear, and I couldn't change my mind. And the school system is built in a way where you can't really change your mind. Once you pick your subjects, you have to study them and you have to pass. And then when you leave, you can go straight into work. But if you need to study anything for the job that you want to do, you have to have had picked the right subject at school. So the way that things are set up, it just feels like you can't change your mind and you can't go in a different direction. But as I've gotten older, I've realised that you can definitely change your mind. You can go down any path that you want to go down. Seriously, it's never too late. It's never too late to go down a different path and pick a new direction in your life. You can become a completely new person tomorrow if you really wanted to. Also, to pick a future when you're like 16 is crazy. You're so young, and like the thing is you don't actually know what you want to do until you try something. And that's a massive lesson that I've learned in my lifetime, specifically in my 20s, I will say, because that is actually the time where I had to try something and I discovered, oh wait, I don't like this. Because I've stuck with something since I was very young, I've almost forced myself to get into that specific thing. And I didn't allow myself to even branch out or explore other areas of that subject. I thought that we had to pick something so specific and stick by it. And I studied fashion photography at uni, and I left uni not feeling very passionate about fashion photography. And I thought that I was a failure. I thought that I was just made all the wrong choices in my life. I paid for this degree and I don't even want I'm not even interested in it anymore. But then I explored other areas of photography, and then I found video again, and I even stepped away from photography and videography. I've done so many different types of jobs. I've done so many different types of creative work. I've worked in marketing, and all of these experiences that I've had, I've learned so much from them. But I think the biggest lesson of all is learning that it's okay to try something and not like it, and it's okay to change your mind. Life is so short, and I know I say this a lot in my videos and in my episodes, but life is so short, and I don't want to waste time. I don't want to waste time on something that I'm just not passionate about anymore. And if you try something and it's completely different to anything you've ever done or anything you've ever experienced, it's not something you studied, but you enjoy it and you feel aligned and you feel it feels good, it feels right, and you want to explore it more, then do it. Life is too short, and you should just do what feels right in the present moment, because things change over time and we change over time. And even if a career feels right to you in your 20s, but then you go into your 30s and you're like, actually, I'm not really enjoying this anymore, it's not for me, then that's fine. You know, that's a different period of your life, and it doesn't mean that you did the wrong thing in your 20s. It just means that you did what was right for you in your 20s, and now you're doing what's right for you in your 30s. And on a day-to-day basis, you can do that. You can change your mind, and that's okay, because it's a different version of you. And throughout your lifetime, you're human. Movement is life. Things are going to move along. Things are going to change. That's okay. Accept it and embrace it, and do what makes you happy and what feels right for you in the present moment, because you do not want to stick with something just because you feel that pressure to. Whether it be like the pressure that you put on yourself, or the pressure that your family put on you, or your friends, the job that you put so much work into, and the clients that you've worked with, it does not matter. If it doesn't make you happy, something needs to change. Even like the pressure in life to have a certain daily routine. Like, everybody is different. Everybody's minds are wired differently. Everybody likes to live differently. It's okay to not live like the majority of people. And who's to say that the majority of people live this way? I think there's just this expectation, and I will blame social media for that, because I think it's so easily to share things online and actually not live by it, hiding behind a screen and not being honest and truthful about your reality, and just putting on a front. You're sharing that message with so many other people, and so many other people are going to see that and think, oh, she gets up at 5 a.m. I need to get up at 5 a.m. No, you don't. You do not need to do that. I mean, do that if you want to, but only if you want to, and only if it feels right and it suits you. And I'm learning that right now. I'm just learning to just do what feels right for me. I don't have to get up early at the crack of dawn to have a productive day. I can get up at 8 o'clock, sometimes later. It depends. You know, I try to get up at 7:30 every single day, but it does tend to be 8 o'clock, if I'm being honest, if I'm working from home. But every day is different. Some days I might have to be somewhere early, so I get up earlier and do that. And then later on, I'm knackered and I'm not doing any more work, so my work day finishes earlier. And I think as a freelancer, I've got into a bad habit of just doing stuff when I want to and not having really set hours. But you know what? As a creative, we don't have set hours for our creativity. Our creativity will flow whenever the hell it chooses to. And I'm just flowing with it. I'm not trying to force myself against the waves. I'm just going to flow, go with the flow. And I can't have a rigid routine like that. I will have some days where I feel energized and some days where I don't. Especially being a woman, I'm trying to track my cycle and document where my energy is at certain times of the month. So then at certain times of the month, I can be more social when I can. And not everybody's going to understand that, but that is really important to me because sometimes I'm just feeling mellow. I think I'm feeling quite mellow right now. I don't know if you can tell, but I think social media made it so much worse because now we're not just comparing ourselves with, our circle. We're comparing ourselves with thousands and thousands of people that we don't even know. Thousands, I mean millions, not thousands. Millions and millions and billions and zillions and trillions. And is zillions a thing? Online, you're constantly seeing everybody's posts. You're getting a constant update every single second of the day on what everybody else is doing. Exposing ourselves to that every single day is not healthy, but it happens, and that's just the way that social media is. So if you're on social media, you will most likely get exposed to these things because we don't have control over everything that we see on there. As much as I've tried to do that, the algorithm just doesn't work like that nowadays. A lot of apps just push everything your way, even if you don't follow these people. And it's really hard to not expose yourself to things that you don't want to be exposed to. On social media, you're constantly seeing people getting promoted, or starting a business, or getting engaged, or having kids, or buying a house, or going on holiday. And as a woman, the hardest part is that I've had to deal with growing up is comparison with other women. And I'm going to put my hands up and admit that because I'm admitting everything else whilst I'm here, so I might as well just... But yeah, that's social media for you. Subconsciously, we compare ourselves to everything that we see online, and everything is shared all of the time, and it can be really overwhelming, and it can affect our mood so easily. The only way that we can stop that from happening is just by coming off the phone. So yeah, the problem isn't really being behind. I think it's like what we determine as being behind, and what do we tell ourselves repeatedly over and over again about where we should be and what we should have. That is what makes us feel like we're behind. Whether we're comparing ourselves to things and exposing ourselves to what everybody else is achieving and what everybody else has and what everybody else has done, whether that be online or offline, these are visible milestones. These are people's highlight reels. And I think we shouldn't have to share all of our struggles with the world, but this is a reminder that there are things that you just can't see. Nobody posts about debt or loneliness or regret. Nobody will put a post up or put a story up and put, I'm depressed. Somebody might be sharing that they've started their new job, but then we don't see what goes on behind the scenes. They might be really stressed at work and crying in their lunch breaks. I have not done that. Okay, I've done that. Also, as a business owner, I won't see people sharing their failed businesses or the fails within their business and what's going wrong. We see rewards, we see success, but we don't see the downfalls and where shit hits the fan and clients aren't happy. We're not going to see any of that. And I think we're very hard on ourselves. We compare our whole life to what we're being allowed to see into other people's lives. Think about that. I like this space because I can just be honest and share stuff. And hopefully this feels refreshing, this transparency, because this shit happens. All of these things that I've just listed, it happens to everyone. Everybody experiences bad days and bad times and failed moments, and they get things wrong, they mess things up. I mess things up, I get things wrong, and I make mistakes, and that's okay. I'm human, like everybody makes mistakes. Everybody, even the smartest person in the world, they've made a mistake. I don't even know who that is. I don't think that exists, to be honest with you. because everybody is really smart in their own way, but a lot of talented, successful people, all of the successful people in this world have made mistakes. That's how they're successful. So do not beat yourself up over the mistakes that you've made in your life, because it's gotten you to where you are now. And you are the person you are today because of the hurdles and the challenges and the struggles that you've overcame. You're probably doing a lot better than you think, because if you think about your younger self and the person that you were when you were 12, if they could just see where you are now, they would be so proud. Would they point out the mistakes? Would they be focused on that? Or would they be looking at the person you've become, the things that you've achieved, no matter how small? When I was younger, all I wanted was freedom. That is all I wanted. I just wanted to be safe. I just wanted to be happy. I just wanted to find love. And I've won at life. Just the fact that I've created a life for myself. I moved away from toxic environments, and I've removed people from my life that hurt me and made me unhappy. And that is all that I could ever ask from myself. So no matter what's going wrong today, I always think about that I've already achieved the only thing that, for me, I define as success. A successful life to me is feeling free, being free. That's a luxury. Not everybody in the world gets that, and to me I value that more than anything. I value peace so much, and being able to express myself. You know, what do you define as success? Because everybody's definition of success is different. What success means to one person will be different to another. So I think it's really a good idea to get clear on what you define as success. Is it freedom? Is it creativity? Is it family? Is it adventure? If you don't define success for yourself, then you will allow everybody else to define it for you. If nobody could see into your life, what would you still want? And what kind of person would you be? Recently, I've stopped chasing aesthetics and milestones, and I've started to chase feeling, because I would get upset and disappointed when I reached a milestone and it didn't feel the way I wanted it to feel. So now I'm chasing a feeling, because then I'm not really chasing anything. Because I get to a point where I feel a certain way that I'm expecting to feel and that I want to feel, instead of reaching a milestone and not really celebrating that victory and moving on to the next thing. And I just keep chasing and chasing after whatever's next. It's really easy to overlook our progress when we're focused on what's next. You can't really appreciate where you are now in the present moment if you're constantly thinking about. Practicing gratitude is vital if you want to be happy, because you won't be happy because you've chased that thing. You'll be happy because you're happy in the present moment. If you're constantly focused on what's next after you've just reached a milestone or achieved something, then you're just constantly moving the goalposts. And that's something that I've done wrong, because I'll achieve something, and instead of being proud of where I am and what I've done and who I've become, I move the goalpost every single time. And by doing that, I've just created this expectation of myself. I've put that pressure on myself then. I've always had like a 5-year plan and thought about where I want to be in 5 years, 10 years. But I've always had this really scary thought that if I reach those milestones, would it feel right? And what would that success cost me? And it's because I'm paying attention to my gut feeling and my intuition. My intuition is telling me that I would be sacrificing what will actually make me happy for something that I define as success. What really makes me happy is being around the right people, being around good people. And I love solitude, but I've always had in my head that if I want to get to where I want to be, then I cannot bring anyone with me, when that's not true. Sure, I've had to lose people along the way, but there tends to be a reason why that happens. And I trust that. But we don't have to lose everybody. We don't have to lose the people that we love to be happy and to be successful. And we don't have to do it alone. I think that's something that I've believed growing up, is that I have to do everything myself and everything is on my shoulders. And if I don't do it, then no one else is going to come help me. But my definition of success is being able to receive help and having supportive people in my circle, because success means nothing if you have no one to share it with. So yeah, maybe we shouldn't be trying to have our lives together. Maybe we shouldn't have that expectation of ourselves. Maybe we should just focus on enjoying life in the present moment, because tomorrow is never promised. And maybe it's about to just keep learning who we are whilst we're building our life, and create your own timeline. Do not live by somebody else's timeline.